You know, it's not a prop. That whiskey bottle.
No.
Live on YouTube.
I mean, technically, I guess it's a usable prop. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Live on.
I still have to like post Deegan Garlick's interview and our episode last week.
Really?
I plan on trying to do that this week.
Sometime.
At some point.
I plan on getting around to it.
Mm-hmm. I have so much I gotta get done. I also have to like get the St. Michael website ready to go for Theology at the Tower.
Yeah, my mom said she's had people calling her asking her
when is it going to happen.
They can make reservations. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I'm just creating a good demand.
Right.
Today,
that's all I'm doing.
Here to give you the assurance that I have not forgotten you.
If we want to see the new evangelization become more than just jargon, if we want to see it grow legs and gain traction and change the world, we have got to take seriously our responsibilities as husbands and fathers, and especially as sons of God.
I want to propose to you then that something that our world is desperately in need of in the midst of this crisis is Catholic Christian masculinity.
If you want to be a good father, then bring your children to confession with you.
I can't get there unless I become a man of ascesis, a man of asceticism, a man of training.
A man not doing penance, a man not disciplined is not a man.
You guys have upped your game.
You know what, guys? I gotta say, I love the concept of Man Show.
Warning: the Catholic Man Show is about to begin.
Welcome to the Catholic Man Show. We're on the Lord's team, the winning side, so raise your glass. Adam Minahan here, sitting with David Niles. Juan is that
ended abruptly.
Abruptly, yes. It did not fade out. Juan is on the buttons this evening. Juan is producer Juan.
That was my fault.
He's I think Juan's a little strong on the fader today.
I usually fade it by hand every time, and now I didn't. So
that's okay.
Who knew?
It's all right. Jim, it's good to have you here. It's good to see you.
Hey, Jim.
Jim had a chance to hang out with his whole family
over the weekend.
The weekend. If you follow him on Facebook, you get to see all of the grandkids. As a granddad, is that like the best to just have all of your grandkids together going crazy in the living room?
It was fantastic.
Yeah, it had to be fantastic.
When I get there, I'm going to be totally an instigator. I'm going to be like, you think you're being crazy now? Let's be crazier! Ah!
So you're an enabler.
I'm going to be an enabler instigator.
Ooh. 2 words I'd not put together.
It's going to be me. It's going to be crazy.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, so this evening we're going to drink an Irish whiskey. We have not had an Irish whiskey in a long time. To my Dominihans in Ireland, I apologize for not promoting.
Yeah. I like Irish whiskey. As a category, I do.
Yeah. They call it just malt over there.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
But this is a very unique bottle of whiskey, I think, because
I like it that I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but
it's
textured here.
Yeah, it's
kind of cool.
Waterford Irish single malt whiskey, and the
single farm origin.
Yeah, the very interesting thing about it,
all the barley, or it all comes from one farm.
I believe so. Yes, it's very interesting because on the box, it has a code that you can go and put on their website.
Yeah.
Waterfordwhiskey.com, and it gives you the whole origin of the bottle of whiskey from when the barley was planted to when it was harvested to when it was they have all of it documented. The whole story of this bottle of whiskey is documented.
That's
this
cool.
is one of 13,000 bottles. They only made 13,000 of these.
Okay.
Which, I don't know.
It seems like a big number, but you got to spread it out all over the world.
All over the world. So, the head distillers tasting notes. You ready?
I'm ready.
Appearance: deep gold with oils that remind me of rolling hills.
I don't know. Would you say this is a deep gold color? To me, it's more of a pale. I would call it more of a pale color than a deep color. Wouldn't you?
I think I would.
Okay.
The nose, it says malty, raisin, orange, chocolate, black peppercorns, citrus fruits, red currants, like eating a light cinnamon porridge while sitting in a worn leather chair. That's the nose.
I'm going to have to try that.
The taste says it's a spice rack bomb. A spice rack bomb. I'm not sure what that is.
It does have a lot of spices to it.
Green apple, lemon sherbet, licorice, grapefruit, dark chili chocolate, popping candy.
It's like red hots. Like it's very
the popping candy is maybe that
very cinnamony right off the bat.
The finish is warm clove that tingles on your tongue when becoming mouth-watering.
Wow, that's really good.
Really?
It's very good.
We're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass. Cheers.
Cheers to Jesus.
Cheers. Cheers, Jim. Yeah, so this is a nice bottle of whiskey. So this is about a $90 bottle of whiskey.
Okay.
But there's not a whole lot of Irish whiskeys that are mainstream that I feel comfortable with buying like $100. Like Redbreast, maybe.
Right. Yeah, Redbreast is good.
But like, I don't want to buy a $100 Jameson bottle. I don't want to buy a $100.
I like Jameson.
Yeah, me too. But I don't want to buy a $100 Jameson bottle. I don't want to buy a $100 Tullamore Dew bottle. I don't want to buy a $100 Powers bottle.
That's one of the things I like about the Irish whiskeys is that they tend to be lower price. And good. It's not like if you have some Irish whiskey in your liquor cabinet, it's not going to be, you got to try this. But
it is a very nice nose.
Well, you should taste it. Like a lot of spices right off the bat. Like it is kind of a spice rack bomb. Is that what he said?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is kind of a spice rack bomb.
Mm.
It kind of reminded me of...
wow. Nutmeg, cloves.
Of like Krupnik. You know how the Krupnik, you get hit with all these spices.
You do get the dark chocolate and orange combo.
And the clove.
And it does.
And the clove, yeah.
I disagree with him on the color, but the rest of it I think was like, wow, he really. A lot of times you read tasting notes and you think, yeah, whatever. You're just like,
that is creative writing.
Exactly. But honestly, I feel like that one was pretty honest.
That was pretty good.
I think the color is on spot because gold is not very dark. If you look at gold,
I don't know.
So I think
when I think of deep colors, I think of like darker colors.
Yeah, but it's gold.
I know.
Also, the bottle, it doesn't have a cork. It's not a cork. It's like glass.
It's glass with
rubber,
a little,
like
a rubbery seal around it.
Yeah, which is very interesting.
Yeah. I think cork is actually pretty expensive.
Yes, I think so too.
Like to use real cork. That's why people are moving away from it.
Big fan of this.
I am too.
Big fan.
Really digging
Highland.
it.
My favorite Highland.
This is Irish.
Sorry. Yeah. My favorite Irish.
Waterford Irish single malt whiskey. Very good.
I recommend.
Yeah.
And like you're paying $90, so it's more, but you're definitely getting more. This is an interesting flavor. There's a lot of complexity.
Mm-hmm.
You could definitely give this to somebody who is, a big whiskey drinker, and they're gonna really like it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm not familiar with it.
Also,
so they might not be familiar with it either.
Also, an elementary whiskey drinker would still very much like it. It's not, Pete.
Although I'm not gonna give them a $90 bottle of whiskey. Probably,
I probably wouldn't either. I'd maybe give them a sip, but
yeah,
if they've just started drinking whiskey, they drink a very heavy peated Scotch, they're not going to probably like it.
Yeah.
So
that's what happened with me anyway.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. I dig.
I also dig.
So we're going to talk about love languages this evening, right? So we're going to piggyback basically off of our last discussion for temperaments.
We did the temperaments yesterday, and I mentioned the love languages. Did I say yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was only a couple days ago.
Correct. Yeah.
And I kind of mentioned the love languages at the end of the episode, and I said, you know what, let's just go ahead and do it. And I'm going to try to connect them today, to connect the temperaments to the love languages in a very unscientific way. Actually couldn't find any.
Are you not following the science? You're not going to follow the science.
This is more of an art form. This is more of an art.
Okay.
I tried to find somebody who had done this already. I found somebody who took the 5 love languages and said if different Myers-Briggs things, if this is your Myers-Briggs, you're likely to have these love languages.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, there might not be a correlation at all, but we're going to talk about it.
Cool. That'll be fun.
Yeah. So you went down out to the Sticks this weekend. How was that?
It was good. It was really good. The Black Powder starts next week.
Yeah.
Here in Oklahoma, and so I am just pumped.
You black powder hunt, don't you? You have in the past.
Muzzle load, yes, yeah.
Do you borrow? Do you don't have a muzzle loader?
I do not have a muzzle loader. I probably will buy one here pretty soon. They're pretty cheap.
Really?
Yeah, $200-300.
Mm-hmm.
You can get a decent muzzle loader. The only reason why I haven't is just because then you gotta buy the optics for it. The optics is gonna be two times the amount of your muzzleloader, most likely.
I mean, well, that's the case, almost always.
Yeah. So I just haven't done it yet. But yeah, I'm really excited just to get. I was like walking the trails this weekend, and you just get the feeling. I walked right up. I was probably 15, maybe 10 yards. Just walked right up on a couple doe. They didn't. I heard, I was walking down the trail, heard a couple of them blowing at me, and so I knew there was movement around here. So
Did you try to grab one?
No, I tried to actually jump on its back.
Yeah.
And hold on to it, but I didn't quite get there.
Yeah.
But so I'm just really excited just to get out and just get out into the wilderness. I got to tell you, I haven't had very many things that recharge my batteries and like just kind of a hard reset for me than just being out in the woods.
Nice.
So I'm really excited about getting out there and hopefully getting a nice buck. I'm gonna fill my freezer up this year with the meat prices the way they're going.
Maybe getting worse. Who knows?
I know. So I'm gonna max out my tags this year. Doesn't matter. Doe, I don't care. Like I want the meat. So that's the plan.
Sweet.
We'll be right back. I'm also buying a quarter of a cow.
From who?
Benny.
You are? Okay. Because I know the monastery, they just did that.
They just did that. Yeah, I just asked a couple people if they wanted to go in. Didn't I ask you guys?
Yeah, I just don't have any space.
Yeah.
I would totally do that all the time. I just keep it.
I'm filling my deep freeze this year.
Yeah, see, I don't have one, nor do I even have a place to put a deep freezer. Like, I have a small garage. So
what's better, a chest or an upright?
Well, are you
upright?
I don't know.
No, like a chest. For meat storage, I think it's a chest.
Well, I mean,
yeah, because I think you can just put more in it.
I think they're bigger. I think the deep, what they call deep freezers, are bigger. I think they hold more. So if that's better, otherwise, I'm not sure that there's necessarily like
because you can hold like bigger cuts of meat in the chest.
That's
like
true.
if it's
like
up,
if you had like a big full rack of ribs,
right?
You could put that in there, which probably you couldn't on an upright.
So that would be my suggestion.
But
I have both.
You know what you can do?
In my
no,
garage.
Actually, you couldn't. I was going to say, you know what you can do is you can take your upright and just lay it down.
No, you can't.
But actually, you can't do that. It'll burn up.
Yeah,
because the oil pan is made to be up and down.
Yeah.
But for a second, I thought it was a good idea.
All right, let's keep rolling.
So actually, wait. If you're going for meat, you don't want to shoot a big buck,
Yeah.
You want to shoot young bucks.
Yeah.
Or just doe.
I'm planning on getting meat.
I don't care about the rules, okay?
I definitely care about the rules. I'm gonna abide by the rules.
I think I might get I'm gonna look about getting my
lifetime hunting.
Lifetime hunting, yeah.
You should actually think about getting it for baby Davy too. Here's why. It
goes up. And
goes
up and up,
yeah. And it.
I remember looking at it 10 years ago. It was like $300.
Right, and now it's 750 or 800
years ago.
Yeah, my uncle said that I need to do it for all of my boys. He said his dad did. My grandpa did it for him, and he said it was probably the best present he ever got him because he didn't ever have to worry about it now. And it's expensive.
Well, I know it is, but it's also not just about hunting. One of the things that I worry about is, okay, you want to go fishing with your kids. Mm-hmm. You're not allowed to fish
without a license.
Without a fishing license,
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those rules that almost nobody follows. Like if you're going to the pond at the park, nobody cares really. I think if you
I call wildlife service on people all the time.
I mean, if you go out there and if you were to ask them, I'll bet almost nobody has a fishing tag for the day.
I busted my neighbors just the other day.
Yeah.
They were so mad.
And it's one of those things that like the enforcement, they're not interested in enforcing that at like the city pond. If you go out to the lake, that's where it tends to be enforced more. Mm-hmm. But you never know. One day
I saw Elizabeth on there with the bobber the other day, and I called.
Yeah, well, she's legit because kids are free. Kids don't need a license.
In all the ponds.
At all. If you're under 16, you do not need a fishing license. Is that under 16? Yeah.
Well, I still called.
Well, just to be safe.
Does the lifetime hunting include fishing?
Yeah, it's hunting and fishing.
You can get both. Yes, there is a lifetime just hunter.
Just hunting, yeah.
Yeah, and lifetime.
But
just
also
fishing.
the lifetime hunting, it also pays for your tags. You don't have to cut. You don't have to even buy tags. In some of the states, there are lifetime fishing. The bummer would be like you buy it and then you move to a different state. That is too bad. That is really too bad. Thank you for your donation.
You feel free to come back and hunt anytime you'd like.
I have a lot of opinions about hunting licenses that we can discuss at a different time.
Okay. I wouldn't say I have a lot of opinions.
I really have one opinion. I have one opinion.
Okay.
Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles, here with Adam Minahan. We are drinking just a lovely, lovely Irish whiskey, Waterford Irish single malt whiskey. Highly recommend. This is 100 proof, 50% alcohol. Did you say that?
I did not.
Yeah, it's easy drinking for being 50%.
You're right.
So we mentioned already we're going to be talking about the love languages today.
Yes.
So our man gear for today is a bouquet of flowers. Obvious connection there between. If you don't see the obvious connection, you will. Stick around. Adam, when was the last time you bought a bouquet of flowers for your wife?
I bought a bouquet of flowers for my wife and a bouquet of flowers for your wife.
Yeah.
Like 3 weeks ago.
I was gonna say you have bought my wife flowers more recently than I have.
Yeah.
That is true. But.
I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago. When was that?
Yeah.
Ish.
It was after the camp out, right?
Yes.
Yeah. 3 weeks ago?
Something like that.
2 weeks ago? I don't know, dude.
Yeah, I know.
I don't even care. I don't even care about keeping up with time anymore. It's like, yeah, that was the thing that happened.
Yes.
It happened. Okay.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you don't know about buying flowers for your wife, you're doing it wrong.
Well, some wives don't care.
Some wives care more than others,
mm-hmm.
but I think in general, women like to be given flowers. There's kind of like I think even in America, young girls are trained, sort of, kind of taught that this is a nice thing, and so
even if she says she doesn't like it, you should still get them and just see what happens.
I agree. Even women who say they don't like getting flowers still like getting flowers. I mean, really. And this is some advice I heard a long time ago, and I think we've mentioned it on the phone, but like
on the phone?
On the phone. I did say that on the phone, but I meant on the episode.
On the show.
On the show. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Man,
I'm here for you.
I might need some help today. I'm not sure. Is that if you're in a situation And there's a lot of people in a situation like this where you and your spouse are struggling, going through a rough patch.
Yeah.
It happens to people. It happens to good couples. Happens, to a lot of just because have a good relationship, holy marriage, doesn't mean you won't have a rough patch.
Sure.
Buy your wife flowers every day. I mean, like, there are some people who they think, oh, I'm on the verge of maybe getting divorced. Like, we might be heading that way. Well, every day you're going to buy your wife flowers and you're going to bring them home. You don't have to say anything about it. Just every single day, you're going to do the things that if she doesn't know that you love her, you're just going to do the things that say I love you anyway. Even if you don't feel like you love her, you're going to do it anyway. Every day. Doesn't have to be expensive flowers.
No, and Walmart has some of the best, the longest lasting flowers I've ever bought.
Do you know why? They dye their flowers.
Yeah.
They do. So sometimes you see them and you're like, wow, that is a vibrant color purple. That's incredible. And then, you have them in water for 24 hours and then the water turns purple. That's because the dye.
But they some of them you can get.
They look good still.
$5, $8.
Yeah, I found grocery stores. I mean, obviously grocery stores are going to have cheaper flowers than a flower store. Flowers, speaking of things that are going up in price, flowers have gone way up in price.
I mean,
the wholesale flower prices have gone up by 20%.
I mean, it's crazy how much money you got to spend just on something that's going to die.
I know. And you even got to buy him flowers. Good luck with that, buddy. What's the guy's name? Sneed?
Josh Sneed.
Josh Sneed.
Yeah, that was
It's
a good joke.
Went to Amish country. Did not care for it. You know what it was? The people. I understand you're friends with them. I did not care for them.
Again, a joke from the
super funny.
Yeah. Also on what is that? Video Angel or whatever. So it's a clean.
Yeah,
it's a clean
part of
comedy.
Their dry bar comedy series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so okay,
so flowers. You know, there's a lot of different reasons to buy flowers. I also have tried to establish a tradition with not a whole lot of success because I forget to keep doing it sometimes. On my daughter's feast day, to go get him a rose or something, just like one nice flower.
Sure.
I've done it sometimes, and I've forgotten to do it sometimes. You know, I'm a sinner.
Luke's feast day is tomorrow.
I'm an imperfect man. Is he?
Yeah, Luke's feast day tomorrow.
Is it?
Yeah. St. Luke.
I wouldn't necessarily say that you have to go get him a flower.
No, I'm not going to get him a flower.
Maybe Haley could do it. It would be cooler if it came from honestly, as I've become a father, and I think as Pamela has done more flower gardens around the house, I have really come to appreciate and like flowers. I love having flowers in the house. Like, it's just...
Elizabeth brought me over flowers when I had COVID.
She did.
Yeah.
So we plant a lot of zinnias. So here's, you know what? Here's a good thing to do in the summer. If you're worried about, like, buying flowers, because even cheap flowers, if you do it frequently, it still, can add up. Zinnias, if you plant zinnias, they're prolific. They grow a lot of flowers all summer long. So it's not like they bloom and then die and then stop, right? Also, they make excellent cut flowers because when they die, they just kind of like die in place and they just like stand there. They don't fall over and wilt. Like roses, the petals fall off. They get like all gross looking and slimy. Mm-hmm. Zinnias don't do that. They just kind of slowly fade in color, but you don't even notice it until you bring in fresh zinnias and you put them in and you say, oh, those are old zinnias. So they're really awesome. So next summer, plant some, and you can have fresh cut flowers for your house. You can give them away because really they grow a lot, and they're very beautiful. They grow a nice variety of different flowers. So that's just one example. Zinnias, and you can do it yourself, totally almost free.
Basically
spend like $4 on some seeds, and you're good to go.
Nice.
And then you can save some of the flowers for the seeds for next year, and they'll grow up volunteer. So anyway, flowers is a man gear. Like, men need to know how to wield a flower, I think, because when wielded properly, can be a very effective tool as a way of saying I love you, as a way of saying I'm sorry, as a way of saying I would like to love you, as a way of saying I will miss you. You know, like flowers really, they're there.
Cover a gambit.
Kind of beginning to end, you know. You give
a gambit of emotions and situations.
They're appropriate for a birth. They're appropriate for a death. They're appropriate for the goods and bads in between. So the thing is, if you're like me, sometimes you realize a little too late, oh, flowers.
Should have done that.
Would have been really good right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you need kind of a plan, like a place. You know, like, oh, I know I can go to, like here in town, I think Reese's has some good flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Sam's has good flowers. I don't know about Costco, but I think for our wedding, we got all of our flowers from Sam's.
We did too.
Juan did too.
Juan did as well, yeah.
So,
Lady Haley really likes flowers.
Yeah.
She is a big flower person.
I think really most girls are. Even the ones that say they're not. I really think that they still are.
So, in Venezuela, the danger of getting flowers for your wife just because is that they think that there's like a motive. It's like his conscience must be eating him up because he thinks that he did something.
Juan, I think I don't think that's just Venezuela. I think that's
okay.
It's the human condition right there. Maybe.
Yeah.
Depends. It depends.
It started in the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
Adam grabbed a couple flowers,
the apples
walking over there to Eve as she was talking to the serpent, and realized that he had messed up.
Yeah,
that's when
maybe.
I think that was biblical.
Did you know the word for apple in Latin is mal? It's the same as evil. Evil and apple, same word, same in Latin.
But it, doesn't keep the doctor away.
That is a total lie, isn't it?
It is.
Like, you cannot eat an apple a day and expect not to, like, it that will not inoculate you from the doctor's office.
And out of all of the fruit, I like, is an apple really the most nutritious? Like,
I don't know.
Is that the one we're gonna pick?
I don't know.
I feel like oranges would be more
right.
like
That's what I'm saying.
C.
More vitamin C.
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of like kiwi. Apparently, blueberries is it like a brain food?
I think kiwi's a superfood.
Yeah.
Blueberries might be. I want to know what a superfood is. What does that mean?
It means it's.
I know what it means, but it's like a superfood. Like, this is above food. This isn't this isn't food. This is superfood. I think it's just like a weird.
It's electrolytes. Plants like it.
It's it's got everything plants crave. It's got what plants crave. That is a funny movie.
Yeah.
It's a funny, inappropriate movie is what that is. But there's a lot of movies.
So when's the last
like
time you bought your wife flowers?
I was trying to think of that. I don't know.
You don't know?
Tomorrow.
Before this, when's this episode posting?
Right, yeah.
Before that. I'm definitely doing it then.
Can we tell, is she watching live?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
It'll be before this episode comes out.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Actually, it was her idea.
What kind of flowers does she like?
She likes daisies.
Okay.
But she also likes the
daisies are kind of tough to find.
She likes the kind that I buy.
Just whatever you buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a flower she doesn't like.
Okay.
What's the one that smells like really fragrant and is orchids?
Lilies.
Orchids? Lilies?
I don't know.
I think she likes lilies. You know what? I'm going to have to find out. Because
don't get her those.
If there's a flower your wife doesn't like, don't buy those. That's a little insulting. That is a backfire.
Love languages. What we're going to talk about on the other side of this break. We'll be right back.
We'll be back.
Hey, Jim, what do you think about this whiskey?
It's good.
Is it on the yummy scale?
Very yummy.
It's very yummy.
It's really my favorite Irish that I've had.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, Irish whiskeys are good, but they're like playing in the average category, you know?
I like Napoke. Napoke?
Napoke
Father,
Castle?
Father Donovan likes
Castle Napoke? Or
I forgot
Napoke
that
Castle?
is an Irish whiskey. That one's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good one.
That was my favorite before this one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good one.
I
dig.
Castle Napogue or Napogue Castle, whatever it is, it's not $90. So
Yeah, I think it's like 60, right?
I don't know.
60, 70.
I don't know. I don't see that very often.
I don't see it a lot either. But I don't actually go around the Irish section of the whiskeys very often.
Yeah, I know. Because
most of the time I'm let down. And it's like, I don't really, like, I know what you have, and you don't ever bring anything new to the table, and
right.
so.
I'm not sure how much new there is.
I'd like to, drink a little bit more of the Redbreast, but I don't want to spend that kind of money on Redbreast.
Yeah, it's over $100, isn't it?
Some of it, yeah. Yeah. It's like.
I agree. I would love for someone else to buy me a bottle.
Because I know for sure there's that Lefroy Glore, or, dude, I saw a Lefroy 25.
What?
At the liquor store the other day.
How much was it?
It was $800. When I saw it, I was like, baby bottle. I was like, this is it. Let's I was gonna buy it. I was just gonna, wrap it up. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna get reimbursed.
Yeah. I'm not even asking Dave and Juan.
Here it is,
yeah. And then I saw it was $800. I was like, well, I'm not doing that.
What if it was $600?
No, I thought about it. I thought, how low would I have gone?
And if I wonder if that's something that you could say, hey, I'll give you $600 for that bottle. Can you negotiate?
Can you negotiate? Yeah, I know.
Obviously,
I think you can. I think you can.
I also think you can. If it's a 6-pack of beer, and you start trying to haggle at the
right.
cash register,
not gonna work.
Sir, how about you leave, please?
Right.
But
if it's inventory
for an $800 bottle,
and they've been sitting on that inventory for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years,
yeah.
Maybe they just.
I think you could make an offer.
I think you could too.
It has to be a serious offer,
right?
Because if it's $800 and you come in,
did you know you could do that with lawnmowers?
I did know that actually, when we did it that one time. That was in Met. It was that was a big eye-opening day. So,
you didn't believe me.
Well, I was with you when you did it.
I know, but you didn't believe me that I could ask, start haggling with. You were like, no, you can't do that. I was like,
well, it's there's a price tag. This is the store where they sell the things where they at the list stated prices.
They don't. You can negotiate.
Right. And so now I'm haggling over oranges, and thing is I don't even want oranges. I just
want to get a good deal.
I just want to go in and haggle with a guy. I'm coming in at 20 cents. I know he's not going for it, so I'm leaving.
Right.
That's all I came
That's what happened
for.
at Mathis Brothers.
I didn't even come to buy the oranges.
I almost bought a leather couch at Mathis Brothers about
I know.
a couple
I
months
remember
ago.
that.
But
until the manager put the kibosh
yeah,
on
the sales guy agreed to it, and I was like, all right, let's wrap it up. Let's go. And I was like, man, I don't know how I'm going to get it. I was kind of shocked. I kind of wanted to just haggle, and I just was in that mood, and so I went over there, and I got it down. It was a $800 chair. I got it down to $395 plus the free shipping. They're going to ship it over to my house.
Yeah, free
and
delivery.
Yeah, free delivery. And I was like, yep, let's go wrap it up. Let's get it out of here. And then I went to the counter, and the manager comes by, and I'm like, maybe he's going to shake my hand for how good of a job I did. Offer me a job or something. I don't know. And then he said, I regret to inform you that we actually can't sell it to you for that. And I kind of I played too strong of a hand afterwards. I said, okay, fine. And I walked out thinking he was going to be like, oh, no, okay, maybe, let's talk about it. He didn't talk about it. And so I just played my hand too strong. But
maybe.
Remember when I bought all the steaks for the camp out?
I do remember, but I don't know
2 years ago.
I don't remember the deal you.
Oh, they were asking $18 a pound, and I walked out of there.
$18 a pound.
I walked out of there twice, and I offered 12. And as I was walking, he was like, "Wait, hold on." And then I came back and said, "Oh, are you ready for it?" No, how about 16? So I was like, no, it's 12. And I walked back out, and he comes back out. And he goes, oh, no, wait. Because we're going to get 40 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, well, it's 12. Are you ready for 12? No, how about? And I said, just don't waste my time. I mean, it's okay. I don't understand if you don't want to do it. And as I was walking out, I was like, okay, I'll do 12.
Maxed it out.
I'm not a haggler. I just don't care, actually.
I don't care on a lot of things, and I have to be in the mood. Like, I'm not in the mood all the time. A lot of times I'll walk into the grocery store and not even look at the price as I'm, like, grabbing things.
I never look at... I have no idea. Like, I know that meat prices are going up because I can look at a chart at work of, like, commodity prices.
Yeah.
But I have no idea...
You would not be good at the prices right whenever they ask you.
I have no idea
items.
what anything costs at the store.
Yeah.
And it's not like I don't go to the store. I just look for stuff, and then I put it in the cart.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how much butter costs. I'm buying the butter. You know what I mean? Like, at some point it does matter.
Did your parents used to, like, go to different gas stations to save a couple cents per gallon?
No, I don't think so. I have no idea.
My dad used to do that.
I would never.
Did you used to do that, Jim?
I did not.
Okay, my dad used to do that. He would drive.
I had a company car.
I had a company car. He would drive like several miles out of the way because this gas station in Tulsa is selling gas for 2 cents cheaper than the one.
Yeah.
And
but it's like, how much gas are you using on the way there and back? You know.
But it took me a long time to think about it, and I was like, but Dad, 2 cents. I mean, so you're saving
24
20
cents.
20 some odd cents.
You have a 12-gallon tank.
Yeah, so you're saving like a quarter, and you're driving out of your like.
Think about like the time.
I don't know, but I mean, a lot of people. I mean, my dad is just super frugal. Like that's just how he is. And
my dad was looking to make an investment to get a visa like 5 years ago, and he was gonna get a gas station, and he was doing like a lot of deep research, and one of the things he found is that roughly like 45% of the people will do that. Would like
go to find the cheapest gas
the average
price.
He talked was like 4. He will go around 4 stations before you make
before he makes the the purchase.
The decision.
I don't have time to do that.
I don't either. Or they would like fill. Never mind. I don't want to. Never mind.
They would like what?
You know, like fill up the gas tank only a few gallons. It's like, I'm only filling it up, you know, like 4 gallons to get me through today.
Because that way I'll cheaper place and
I'll go there tomorrow.
Yes.
And I'm like, wow.
I had a friend in college. He would put like $4 or $5 into his tank.
Yeah.
And then be back there.
The next day.
Oh, he would be like, prices are coming down.
Yeah.
Here's pretty soon. And then he would like wait it out.
Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting to me.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. We're sitting here drinking a little bit of Irish whiskey. Haven't had Irish whiskey in a while, but we're drinking it. I think that one of the reasons why it's so good is we're drinking it in a Catholic Man Show Glencairn glass. If you don't know what a Glencairn glass is, it is a whiskey glass designed by science to make the whiskey taste better. And then we add even more to the science by adding laser-etched logo into the Glencairn glass.
Laser etched with lasers.
With lasers. And we actually give these away as a thank you gift to all of our $10 and up patrons. So if you go to patreon.com/The Catholic Man Show, support our show, 100% of the money that you donate goes back into the show. Dave and I don't take any of the cash, and we just try to make the show better.
We try.
So anyway, support the show if you feel called.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, yours isn't. You didn't have one.
That one has no. I'll bet your whiskey tastes terrible, Jim.
Compared to ours.
You don't even have a logo on yours.
Yeah, it doesn't taste as good for you. So we're going to talk about love languages.
We are
Dave,
going to talk about love languages.
Can I ask a question? Like, somebody may be thinking about, like, oh, you're talking about love languages? That's just not something that's important to me.
What do you mean, like French?
Yeah, like, this sounds
Italian?
a little sissy.
Is that a love language? Is that the love language you're talking
Latin?
about? It's like
Latin?
romantic love language, like the romance languages.
Why do we need to even talk about
German.
German is not a love language.
It is not. In fact, I was counting in German with my kids today at dinner, and like, German is just so ridiculous. Like when you get to 21, it's 21. That's how you say 21. 21. Like that's kind of a long. And then so if you get like to 121, you say 120 and 1. And it gets to be super, super long. And if you write that out, it can take like a whole line on a piece of paper just to write one number. Very specific, but it's just not a pretty language. But those are not the languages that we're talking about today. So we are talking about the 5 love languages. These are words of affirmation.
Okay.
Acts of service.
Okay.
Quality time, gift giving, and physical touch.
Okay. Why are these important?
So these were developed...
Especially for dudes.
These were developed by a guy named Dr. Gary Chapman. He spent years as a therapist, counselor.
Not kin to Tracy.
I don't know.
Okay.
Cannot confirm or deny.
Okay.
And so he was kind of like reviewing all of these cases he'd worked on, couples therapy, and realized that it was very common for him to get somebody a couple in his office where one of the people in the relationship says he doesn't love me, and the other person saying like, I don't love you. What do you mean I don't love you? Like I do. Like, look at like how can you say I don't love you? And like here's why you should know that I love you.
Here's a litany of things that I have done for you to show you that I love you.
Like, and then like just today, I unloaded the dish. I got up early to unload the dishwasher for you, and so he realized that some people, whether it's for whatever reason, just your personality type, probably your family of origin has a lot to do with it. How were you raised? How did you watch affection being given, in your own family?
Sure.
That some people interpret love in different ways, and so and he broke them down into these 5 languages that some people feel loved when somebody else gives them words of affirmation, where that might not be the thing that makes somebody else feel loved. For somebody else, it might be acts of service, like, oh, when you stop what you're doing to take out the trash for me, or to you drove my car to fill it up with gas and brought it back, before you went home, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Those kinds of things make other people feel good. And another person, it might be giving them a gift.
That's something you're really good at.
If I can buy it, I can give it, but it's not my strong suit. I do like getting gifts. I like it when I like to have friends who that's their love language. It's definitely Juan's love language.
Yeah.
Big time.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Pamela and I, Lady Pamela, we do the Catholic Engaged Encounter here in the diocese, and that's just one of the things that's on the weekend. We take these couples, they're engaged, and that's...
You're prepping them for marriage? It's a marriage prep weekend?
Mm-hmm. And so we go over these love languages, and the more we've done that, the more I've come to realize how really this is an important thing to know. And Dr. Gary Chapman, he took this research that he'd been done, he put it out in a book in 1992, so it's not even that old. I mean, this is kind of like new official information. Not that people didn't know this before, but he, I think, took the time to really categorize it in a way that
hadn't been done.
Had not been formalized. And one of the things that he comments on is in the book of Titus, chapter 2, verse 4. It's talking about get the older women in the community together and have them teach the younger women how to love their husbands and their children. Okay? And at first you could say, oh, I could see, the older women are going to teach the younger women how to love their husbands. And their children? Doesn't a mother know how to love her child? I mean, that's just kind of innate. With, obviously with some exceptions, but for the most part, when a woman becomes a mother, she knows how to love that child. So it's interesting that Paul would be saying to get the older women to teach these younger women how to love their husbands and even their children. And it's just because not all people experience love in the same way. And so I want to go through these, and I want to talk about them from a spousal standpoint and a fatherhood standpoint.
Okay.
Because they're a little bit different, and they're both important. Okay.
Dig.
So these are not in any specific order. These are just the order that I wrote them down in. So we're going to start off with acts of service. This, I think, I've heard many women, many mothers say when they became a mom, acts of service became their new love language. And I think that's true for Lady Pamela. I'm not sure if you would say the same about Lady Haley. But, when you got all these kids running around, if your husband stops to unload the dishwasher or something, he's like you can be a hero for putting some spoons away.
Mm-hmm.
Really pretty cheap. It's not that's pretty low cost for hero status. So some people, this is what their thing is. It's sort of like the 4 temperaments we talked about last week. Everybody has a primary and usually a secondary love language. Okay. There's a quiz you can go on to, online quiz, sort of like with the temperaments.
Sure.
Some of the questions are a little difficult. You got to make tough choices, and it's like, I'm not sure which one of these I like more, but
just gotta pick.
Yeah, just pick, and it's fairly good. One way of knowing what is your primary love language is what is the way that what language do you speak? Like when you want to show somebody else that you love them,
what do you do?
How is it that you do that?
Mm-hmm.
That is probably your primary love language, but not always. So acts of service, it's really, really, really important to know what is your spouse's love language. Because if you are every day telling her, I love you, oh, you're so beautiful, I couldn't live without you, but her love language is acts of service and quality time, then she might hear the words, but she's not going to feel loved.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you want her to know it more than intellectually. Gary Chapman, he talks about everybody has a love tank, and you want to keep that tank full.
Ew.
Yeah. So with acts of service, actions speak louder than words. And then what I did here is I tried to go through the temperaments. I wanted to correlate the temperaments with the love languages. I was hoping to find like
somebody else
500 blogs where they had already done this. Like, oh, choleric people tend to be but I couldn't. In fact, I found 0. So I put these together myself. Therefore, they have no scientific or research behind them. But it seems to me like choleric and phlegmatic people would be acts of service, would really prefer acts of service. Like a choleric person, they're a go-getter. They want to get things done. They want to like check off boxes, So if you're helping them do that, seems like they would be down. They would really like that. And Adam, just if you have any stories you want to tell about any of these along the way, let me just invite you to jump in.
Okay.
The second one is words of affirmation. I think this is one. I don't know if this is my primary love language, but this is definitely one of my.
When you say that, you mean like what?
This is what I like to receive. Yeah, what
okay.
I like to receive.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah. I think I like to receive words of affirmation because for me, humility is just so easy.
Mm-hmm.
That
it's nice to be.
It's not humility for me is not even very meritorious anymore because it's just so easy for me to be humble because.
But it's nice for others to recognize.
Well, so when people shower me with flowery compliments, it finally it makes staying humble a little bit harder, and so finally now I have a challenge. Now
again?
I can actually like earn some grace.
I see.
Like because that's how you get to heaven. Is you got to earn
it.
Yeah. Words of affirmation. Just it is what it says. When you encourage people and you tell them nice things, give them compliments, or just tell them that they're good at something, recognizing that they are good at something.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about this more on the other side of the break. But
Dave, I think you're doing a great job thus far.
Thank you.
In the third segment, I thought you really did a great job of understanding.
Thank you, Adam.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I hate you, Juan. You just keep going.
One segment, 4 loves. Or are you just going to say, we'll do 2?
No, we'll get through
and
them
then
all.
we'll get over.
Because the first half of that segment I was talking about.
We'll be fine.
The stuff. It'll be fine. Yeah.
Be a 3-hour podcast. Joe Rogan does it.
Yeah.
So it'll be fine.
His podcast with Gupta the other day.
Yeah, I actually listened to that.
I only saw like clips of it, but
I don't normally listen to Joe Rogan, but
I don't have 3 hours a day. Are you kidding me?
Well, I was.
I can't believe people do that.
I was traveling.
Do you do it, Jim? You listen to 3 hours a day? It doesn't.
I'm just thinking of what you were doing the other day.
It could be.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be Jesus putting out a 3-hour podcast. I wouldn't have time to listen to 3 hours, like of a Jesus podcast a day. I don't think I could do it.
I was traveling, and so like I had time.
Yeah, if you're on the road,
I was on the road, and so like I was like, yeah, I want to listen to this because it made a lot of headlines, and it was very interesting because it was very interesting.
They
because
told him not to go on Rogan's podcast.
I listened to the doctor's like CNN interviews afterwards and how he was acting in those interviews.
Oh, really?
But first,
was he like a lot more?
Oh, well, he acted like it was so hard. Like, I was in the hot seat for 3 hours, and like, kind of acting like that he like did just some magnificent feat, like of going into the lion's den,
right?
And just how bold he was.
So he could promote his book.
So he could,
exactly.
Yeah. And then like I went and listened to the show, and I was like, it was not super confrontational.
He brought it up. Gupta brought it up.
Yeah, and he wanted to go on Rogan's show. He asked to come on his show.
And then the other CNN people said, I don't think you should do that.
It was weird.
They kind of said, like, I wouldn't do that. Joe.
It made me not like him more.
Yeah. Well, you know how he had to go on Joe Rogan's podcast because he has, I think, a bigger audience than CNN.
Yeah, I think he does.
I honestly think Joe Rogan does have a bigger audience than CNN.
I second that.
I mean, I'm not...
Dave, that's a very eloquent point.
It sounds like a joke, but I think it's actually real.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, that's a really good...
Isn't that pathetic? I mean, if that's true. But anyway.
We may have a bigger audience. We have 6 tonight.
6 people. That's like twice as big as CNN in primetime.
Yeah. Take that, Anderson Cooper.
And that's, and like one of those people is Anderson Cooper's
Don Lemon.
Sister or something. I was going to say his mom, but I don't think his mom's alive.
Looking at you, Cuomo.
So anyway, that was a...
Wait, is he on CNN? Yeah, he's on.
Yeah.
He didn't have a show, though.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, he does have a show?
Chris Cuomo has a show.
Yeah.
I always just see him and Lemon talking together, and I don't know whose show it is. I thought it was Don Lemon's, but maybe it's...
Well, Don Lemon has a show. But his last name's like Lemon. Like, yeah, I think that says a lot, Welcome back, everybody. I'm going to congratulate you for making it through the break. I'm David Niles, here with Adam Minahan. We're talking about the 5 love languages. We talked about active service. We were talking about words of affirmation. It's not complicated. Like I said, it's when you just build people up. But once again, you need to know. It's good to know this even about your friends. Just when if you want to build fraternity, it applies the same.
I think a grateful man. I think words of affirmation come very easy for a man who's grateful.
I think you're right. Totally.
If you're focused on all the blessings that you have in your life and all of the things that your friends do for you, your wife does for you, even your kids do for you, and you are aware of those situations and you acknowledge them, words of affirmation come very, very easy. In fact, it's just a part of who you are.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because you cannot be grateful and selfish at the same time. Those are opposite sides of the spectrum.
A lot of times, when I have buddies who've said like, "Hey, I'm depressed," or I'm down, or I'm stressed, I said one of the things I tell them is like, you should start thinking go out of your way to help other people. Because the biggest this is a anecdotal evidence. This is just for me personally. Like when I get too stressed or like starting to feel kind of down in the dumps, in order to get out of that, the quickest way for me to get out of it is just to start helping other people.
Yeah. And to count your blessings. I mean,
right.
It's hard to say that to somebody who's depressed, you know, like, oh, well, you should be more thankful for this stuff, the good,
right?
You know,
but if you tell them, if you turn yourself
other people
from inward,
that's a good way to do it.
Yeah,
yeah, because it doesn't seem like you're saying, oh, well, you're stupid for feeling depressed,
right?
You know, because
don't do that.
If someone says I'm just depressed, and somebody else says, well, you should really be thankful and count your blessings, that doesn't go.
That doesn't help.
You know,
that doesn't help.
That's not. It's not gonna be interpreted well.
But I think that as we continue growing in virtue, as you continue understanding all the many blessings and gifts that the Lord has bestowed on you and your family, words of affirmation should just be kind of a second language.
So I think people who would appreciate words of affirmation are the sanguine and the melancholic. Sanguine people,
I think melancholic,
definitely. And the sanguine, you know, they're like the social butterfly, you know, very popular. Mm-hmm. They want you to they want to hear like how great they are, and, you know. So the third one is quality time. I think this is the worst one for people to have. Just because like
it takes the most time.
I can't just buy something for you.
But this is like typically I think this would be children's love language.
Yeah, it could be. You're right.
I think
and your love languages do change as I mentioned. Like I've had a lot of women tell me when I became a mom, my love languages changed.
I didn't know you became a mom.
Well, they told me that. They said I had the women tell me in quotes when I became a mom.
Okay.
Not when I became a mom.
I know that was a little confusing, but
that's what they were saying.
Okay.
I was quoting them, and you can quote me on the quote that I quoted to you.
Okay. But I think children.
Yeah, you're right.
I think love language for a child is
they certainly need
time.
that.
That's why get off your phone and be with your son and daughter.
And it's not, and really all of these things do portray love to everybody, but it's not the way that is going to like fill up their love tank necessarily. So for quality time, what does that mean? It doesn't actually mean like, oh, come sit with me for an hour. Like I just
it just means being present. This is like this whole talk that we had last episode when I was telling you like I was trying to be more present in things that I was doing and not trying to multitask. Really striving to be the JP2 where when I sit down with you, you know I'm not looking around for somebody else to talk to. I'm not interested in what my phone's happening. I'm not interested in what Jim is doing over here in the corner of the room. I'm focused. You can't handle
my level of presence.
Yes.
Yeah. So the one, like, the key to quality time is eye contact. Mm-hmm. So you need to be looking them in the eyes. So no phone. Turn off the music. You know,
this is something you also have to teach your children. I didn't realize. I guess how
you have to tell people like to look somebody in the eye.
How that it's not a natural. I guess. I mean, obviously, my parents must have taught me, but I guess they just taught me for so long ago that I kind of forgot.
Yeah, dude, I know that is weird.
That you actually have to be taught this. That it's not a natural instinct to look somebody in the eye.
Yeah,
and I think
I wonder if cell phones, like kids see people like not looking at each other anymore, and so they also I don't know. That's
I think it's a very
something to be studied.
I think it is very important as a father to teach your children young that, and this is something I'm currently working on. Right, I was working on it with Jude even today when Father Brooks after Mass was talking to Jude. He engaged him in the eyes and then like looked away and like was answering him looking away, and I had to no, look him in the eyes as you're talking to him. And then at the end I was after the conversation I was telling Jude like, hey Jude, listen, whenever you're talking to somebody you need to make sure that you're looking them in the eyes so they know that you're responding to what they're saying,
and also when they get in trouble, when they're being when you're disciplining, they shouldn't be looking away, and they don't want to look at you, but that's part of the medicine.
I think it's because kids like to think what they're going to say next, and it's hard for them to think and look at them and listen.
But
that's the case with Santiago, because I asked him, why are you not looking me in the eyes to somebody? And he said, well, I'm thinking what I'm going to tell them.
Yeah, that might be true, but they need to learn to do it.
Yeah. I'm saying that's why it's not natural to them.
Okay, so I think that quality time is going to be like phlegmatic and melancholic people. Mm-hmm. The next one is physical touch.
Hold on. Before you move over, fun fact. Quality time is my love language.
Oh, really? So your quality time gift giving.
Which I was going to... No, like the one I like to receive.
Yeah. You don't like to receive gift giving?
It's kind of the same to me.
Okay. Good to know.
And for that, I would actually say that quality time is probably more sanguine, because sanguines likes to...
Yeah,
like
that's a good point.
Spend time and hang out.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Good point.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So then physical touch, I think every husband hopes
that's their love.
That his wife has his wife's love
language
is physical touch. Yep. She just loves it when I touch her a lot. So it's a pretty great marriage, you know.
So let me tell you. Here's a story. You asked me to jump in.
Yeah, please.
Here's a story that really affected me throughout my life, and something that made a deep impression on me, and something that I try to do as well, that my father did, that like it taught me, and I didn't understand it as a kid growing up, but as I've gotten older, I've realized the importance of it. And what it is as he came home every single day from work, the very first thing he did when he walked through that front door was find my mom and give her a kiss. The first thing. He did not put his... At this time, men still carried briefcases. He didn't put his briefcase down. He did not, come and hug the kids. He did not go pour himself a drink. He did not do anything, but he went beelined it over to his wife and gave her a kiss. That says a lot, not only for the man, like not only like setting precedence in the household, but
it says something to his wife.
It says not only to her, but also to the children.
To the children, yeah.
And it was just an understanding of seeing mom and dad affectionately showing their love for one another on a daily basis. And that's something that I think is very important for your children to see affectionate love in an ordered way.
Yeah.
To know what that looks like. There's a lot of things in this world that is showing other things
yeah,
in a very disordered way.
Absolutely.
And so it is good for your kids to see you holding your wife's hand. It is good for them to see you kissing her.
Right. Yeah.
And showing your love and manifesting your love in a physical way to her.
In a chaste and
holy,
open, and like you're not ashamed of loving your wife.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I think my dad did a phenomenal job of, and I don't think it's very. I think it's extremely intentional. And I don't think it's very easy, because there are days that work is just not very fun. There's days that you are mentally just not there, but it sets the tone. I have noticed that
it's meritorious when you do it anyway.
Right, and I've noticed that it also sets the tone. It switches into husband and dad mode from work mode. It helps me switch to I am now
physical
home.
Thing, puts you in a new frame of mind.
So there's a story for you.
Good story, bro.
Thank you.
I liked it. I don't think physical touch correlates to any of the temperaments. It seems,
all of them,
I think
actually.
I think it I don't know. It just doesn't seem to relate to any of them specifically. It's kind of universal. Finally, there is gift giving. For people who like to receive, this is their love language. They like to receive. It doesn't matter if the gifts are expensive. It's more about the
thought,
the intention. Right, exactly. Like, oh, you were thinking about me, and you did something for me. You did this, and then you gave it to me. So. And there's something very manly about speaking this love language, and giving gifts to your wife. As men, we are gift givers in our bodies. Okay, so we are the keeper and the giver of the gift. And so that's it's part of our vocation in a primal way, in an inescapable way. We need to be
metaphysical way.
Yes, in a physical and a spiritual. We need to be gift givers. Okay, and so I will just tell you that this, I think, is like a hack. It's like a love hack, whatever kind of hack you want to call it. But if you don't know what your wife's love language is, you need to find out, and you need to make a habit. Be a virtuous man. Make a habit of speaking that language every single day. So you need to add it to your thing. I prayed today, and I spoke my wife's love language. because she needs to know that she is loved. Okay, and I think, you know, happy wife, happy life. A wife who feels loved is going to be a happy wife. So Google it. 5 love language test, and figure it out for you and your kids.
We're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass.
Cheers to Jesus.
So wait.
Let's talk about kids a little bit too before we wrap it up.
Go ahead.
No, after you.
I was just gonna ask. I can't remember. You may have said this. Like, what was Lady Pamela's love language?
She is acts of service, and I'm not sure what her secondary one would be.
Mm-hmm. These are the kind of things that you have to really stop and think about and reflect on. I think on a regular basis. Like this is kind of almost like an examination of conscience. Like you're taking stock of how am I actually doing in life?
Yeah.
Like the game of life. How am I doing? What's the most important thing? Okay, am I praying? Do I have a relationship with our Lord?
Mm-hmm.
Am I putting in the time needed to develop a relationship with our Lord? Yes. Okay. Hopefully, yes. Good. Okay. Now, what about the people around me that I love the most?
The important people. The people that are part of your vocation.
Right.
You mean those people first?
Right. You're small to big. You're micro
Right.
to macro here.
Yeah.
So you're doing your wife, your children, your very close friend, your family, your extended family, your very close friends,
neighbors,
your neighbors, your church family.
Mm-hmm. But like obviously with something like this, it stops pretty quickly. Like you're not going to be able to keep track of your people in your parish's love language. I mean,
no,
it's just too much.
No, but
the people
I mean,
a
lot
of
of
people
times,
in your parish, they don't need to feel love from you. They need to feel a sense of community with you. There are certainly things that you have a responsibility, and that you could say are a need that they have from you. But for the most part, those people don't need to feel loved from you because you're not the one responsible for whether or not they feel loved, right? If they have a spouse, that's their spouse's job probably. When it comes to this kind of stuff, I think.
Okay.
But I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Solid subsidiarity. You start with people closest to you.
And I think that's the best way to evangelize is whatever you're good at showing your love language, whether it's words of affirmation, whether it's just reaching out, spending quality time with somebody. I'm pretty good most of the time of reaching out to people and communicating with them, even if I haven't talked to them in a long time.
Yeah.
Checking in on them. Hey, how you doing? What are you up to? I try my best to still write letters.
I'm not good at that.
Once a month
I have
to
terrible
people.
Handwriting.
Or send a text message to people that I haven't talked to in a while, reaching out to them, letting them know I'm thinking about them.
There is an element of evangelization here because your evangelization efforts will probably be much more fruitful with the people who they prefer to receive the love language that you speak.
That makes sense.
Juan speaks the gift-giving love language. Well, he's probably going to be more effective at evangelizing people who like to receive gifts, okay? Because he's going to be able to make them feel loved and cared for.
Sure.
Easier, right? It's going to be more natural for him. So it's something to be aware of. Not only what is it you like to receive, but how is it that you speak and what language you like to speak. When you're, that's not really what we were talking about today, but from an evangelization standpoint, that is going to make a difference, so it's just something to be aware of. Finally, I just want to talk about your kids.
Kids? Yeah, let's do that.
We talked about last week, different kids, different temperaments. You have to adapt.
And discipline kids.
Exactly. Discipline in different ways.
Hold on. So before we switch to kids, we have a question from the audience.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I like it.
What do you do when your wife says she has all 5 languages?
I'll call her a liar. I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
Pick physical touch.
Yeah, exactly. You pick the ones. I guess it's dealer's choice.
There you go. That was from Jacob McDonald.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, everybody does have all 5 love languages, but Dr. Gary Chapman, I believe, would disagree with her and say that you're going to have one primary one. You're going to have one that is more effective, maybe. I mean, like, I'm sure there could be exceptions to that. It's not like a law of physics. But maybe she has 2. Some people, he does say some people have 2 that are equal, and they don't really have a primary one and a secondary one. They just have these 2 that are kind of tied. So with your kids, the temperaments, we kind of talked about how it affects discipline.
Yes.
I think the love language is kind of the opposite side of that spectrum. You know, you need to also make sure that your kids feel rewarded, and obviously they need to feel loved from their father. If your children are growing up and they don't feel like their father loves them, you know, like there's going to be a barrage of psychological defects later in life. Yeah.
Deep issues. They don't know how
exactly
our father loves them.
Yeah, and not to mention like all the money they're going to spend on therapy as an adult. You know, it's going to be ridiculous. You know,
and maybe never mind. Yeah.
So it's very important that when you do that, you are like aware of what your child is, and like you probably don't have to work too hard to figure that out.
No, kids are very easy to figure this out.
Right.
And let me tell you, if you're like, no, you're wrong. That there are difficult. Start with quality time, and then talk to me later.
I mean, there's like little cues. Like one of my daughters, obviously quality time. That's what she really wants, and she asks for. Like, oh, can I go on a walk with you? Like if you know, like she's the one who always like wants to do stuff with you. And another one of my daughters, physical touch all the way. She'll like tackle you. You know, like She will just like cuddle all day if that's allowed, you know.
Is Bernadette's eating?
Bernadette's love language is not eating. Her love language is not eating, actually. Today for dinner, 2 bites. Not kidding. The second bite, I think, was in her mouth for about 15 minutes.
You're barely on the charts.
Yeah.
I'm ready for her more.
Yeah.
Please do. And me. And pray for me. But, you know, so it's not hard. I think once they hit about 3 years old, that's, you know, up until then, don't try to figure out what your 1-year-old's love language is. It's, you know, it's probably food and tickling or something. I don't know. But once they're about 3, that's when their personality starts to come out a little bit more. And then you can start to kind of see what it is. You know, like, do your boys try to trip you when you walk through the room? Or do they, like, you know, like say, oh, you old man, you know, like, are they trying to, like, play, you know, have fun in antagonizing you a little bit? You know, like, maybe it's, like, words of affirmation, you know, that they're trying to, like, be playfully get out of you, or are they pushing you around, or, you can figure it out. But you really need to know that. Just Dr. Gary Chapman, he got a lot of testimony about kids he's had in his office who he says, my parents don't love me. They love my brother. They love my sister, but they don't love me.
Is this...
I do an incredible Dr. Gary Chapman
is this child
impression, actually.
Like, is this Barry White?
No, but Dr. Gary Chapman, I will just tell you, and I honestly do an incredible Dr. Gary Chapman, that when he talks, he sounds exactly like this. Okay? Now, they might love my brother, but they don't love me. I don't know where he's from.
Wait, this sounds like
this is like
a preacher man now.
Well, he kind of, I think he's got a little bit of that in him.
Okay.
I don't know where he's from. Maybe one of the Carolinas. But he tells this story. It's like, when I was a boy, my mother, she always made me vacuum floors. And I said, if there's one thing I'm never doing when I get out of here, I'm never going to sweep floors. And now I'm married. And my wife, her love language is acts of service. And here I am, vacuuming floors. But I get credit all the way for it. And, you know, he just, he's pretty funny, like, especially the second time you watch his DVDs. Okay. It's sort of like Napoleon Dynamite. The first time you watch it, you're like, this is not funny. And then you watch it again, you're like, you know what? This is very funny. I like it. So he does have this book I brought, The 5 Love Languages of Children. And so in here, he goes through, it's really a pretty good book. He talks about how to discipline, like, what do you do if your child's love language is words of affirmation? And, how are they going to take, discipline when you're correcting them verbally? How does that affect them as compared to other children? And so it's a good book, especially for new parents, I think. Easy. It's not a hard read. The 5 Love Languages, his other book, is also good. But this is just something that I think isn't necessarily innate. You're not just going to know this. Mm-hmm. Obviously, if even St. Paul was talking about it, that the older women should teach the younger women mm-hmm. how to love their children, how to love their husbands. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's something that we need to take seriously as vocations, as husbands and fathers, as brothers, friends, sons. We need to know these things, that some people speak different languages, like French. And German is ugly. So, any other thoughts?
I mean, obviously,
what do you think what do you like to receive?
Physical touch.
Depends. Is it after 10 p.m.?
Yeah. So
it changes after dinner.
It changes after. I don't know. It depends. Did I eat something light? Something like soup.
Does that matter?
This is Michael Scott.
Oh, that's
what are you gonna have for dinner? Something light, maybe soup. When he's talking about having sex for the first time with.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't remember that one. Okay.
Anyway. But I also I think probably words of affirmation mm-hmm. would be one of my probably one of mine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the thing about physical touch is that it's easy with your wife, but it's with everybody else.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Well, with your kids, it's very easy too, because it's like snuggling, making sure that they, they're receiving hugs from their fathers. Make sure, making sure, those kind of things. That's easy. But I'm not gonna go over there and.
So I did find blogs about how to speak the love language of physical touch in the workplace. I didn't read any of them because that's not what I was
gonna talk about.
But it is something that is being discussed on the internets, and maybe I will go back and read them because it's these days it's gotten even very sensitive. Mm-hmm. The lines have moved. Basically, just don't touch anybody mm-hmm. in the workplace.
Oh yeah, that's it's just a rule of thumb.
I mean, especially if it's a man and a woman.
I don't think especially. I think just in general.
Well, I mean, you've got some buddies at the office, where
yeah,
it's not.
Yeah, I think
you can push it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's don't make physical contact. But if it's a woman in the office, that's probably just something you stay away from at all.
Right.
Aside from shaking hands,
I think that when both you or Juan reaches out and says hey, can I help you with something? Or hey, I know you're under a lot of stress. Just knowing that whenever you guys reach out and offer help, most of the time you don't I don't end up taking it. I don't actually need the help, but just the understanding of hey, I know that you're doing a lot right now. I'm here. Can I help you in some way? That typically for me
just says, hey, I'm thinking about you.
Right. That typically to me is okay, thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you for just recognizing what's going on. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's typically mine, mm-hmm. I think. What about you?
I am words of affirmation, and I think physical touch.
Do you think that's with most men?
I think physical touch tends to. I think men are drastically more likely to be physical touch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that for sure, but
I feel like that if you took a
that
poll,
seems.
I feel like at least if they were being honest, 70% of men.
No, I think that depends on what type of language are you talking about. With your wife, yes.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
No, but
that's the situation we were just talking about.
Okay, but there's a lot of men that don't feel physical touch with everybody else.
That is a good point.
You know, like, there are people that don't like to be touched.
Sure.
Except for their wives or their kids.
Yeah, that's true. But, you know, your love language, it's not like, oh, I have a love language with my wife. I mean, your love language is what it is. You know, physical touch is different with your wife than it is with everybody else. But, you know, like, if your words of affirmation...
I would hope.
Yeah, but if yours is words of affirmation, you like to be affirmed from your wife or from other people, you know, that's your love language. Physical touch might be somebody else's love language. And physical touch, it doesn't have to be like anything big. You know, it's not like you have to go around hugging everybody. But even just like a touch on the shoulder or a handshake, you know, congratulations.
Right.
Those kinds of things, you know, it obviously takes place within social, you know, accepted norms. But still, those kinds of things go a long way for those people. So, but Juan, that is a good point, because when I'm sitting here thinking about what is what love language do I like to receive, I'm sitting here thinking about as a married man.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that I would like it if like other people were touching me, you know, or you know.
Well,
like,
I think you have different love languages.
But once again,
people.
I'm still doing it. I'm thinking about touching me as if like they're
Sexual.
gonna be like rubbing my shoulder or something.
Right.
Obviously they wouldn't do that. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about this again and take the test again, because I took the test years ago and I don't remember what it said.
It was negative.
It was negative. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, you don't have love in you. We found a black spot where your soul should be, and
it's vacant.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I do think that it's important to actually work on even the ones that don't come naturally to you. So there are ones for me that don't come, like I think for probably both of us, gift giving isn't a strong suit. Like I don't think either one of us are probably good at giving gifts.
Not good at that.
However, I try my best to work on that and be intentional about it, knowing that I'm not good at it.
Yeah.
So that the people who actually are their love language is gift giving, and that's what they, you know, that's to show, like, so that I can show those people that I actually do love them. Right. So like,
yeah,
if I'm not a good gift giver, and one of my best friends is the love language is gift giving, if I don't put thought and effort into the gifts that I give them, and I'm not good, you know, that could reflect on our relationship and them thinking that I don't actually care about them, when in reality I do.
Yeah.
So I think that as we go, I think it's important to understand which ones are your weaknesses, so that you can work on them, so that way you can be a better husband, you can be a better father, but you can also be a better friend. You can be a better evangelizer. You can go and make disciples easier. Like if you're better at all five love languages, you're going to be able to evangelize.
Right. Like St. Paul said, I have become all things to all people.
To all people, right. So I think it's important to reflect on this. I think that actually our last two episodes, like the temperaments, mm-hmm. bleeding into these five love languages, are really, for me, something that's probably will be impactful for my life moving forward, because it is something that I've had to really step back and reevaluate on my, like I know last episode, I have really thought about last episode, and understanding, to make sure that I understand what I am, but also like evaluate like what's my wife, what are my children,
mm-hmm.
Who are the people that I love the most in my circle.
Yeah.
You know, I should think about like how to interact with them, like how they receive my love, you know, and how to effectively do this.
And I'm glad we're doing these back to back, because the temperaments, it's like, oh, here's your personality type, but then you also need to know how to, in that personality type will tell you important things like what might be their key vices, what are they susceptible to with that type of personality. But also a way to help avoid those vices is by that, especially for your kids, that they grow up knowing love, right? And so that they know what to strive after as an adult, that it's kind of ingrained into them that I did know real love as a child, so I know what it really is. So I'm not distracted by these fake
faux loves.
Exactly. I realize that these are cheap and inadequate.
These bogus loves.
Exactly. But I cannot say it enough. And Dr. Gary Chapman, he does talk about, like, well, what if your spouse's love language is physical touch, and I'm just not a touchy person? In my family, we just weren't touchy-feely, and I'm not sure if I feel comfortable being all touchy. And he says, like, basically, it's not your love language; it's your spouse's love language, and that's what makes it an act of love. It's not about you; it's about them, and you want them to feel loved. They will speak your love language to make you feel loved.
Right.
And when you start doing this back and forth, and
you make decisions. It's intentional decisions.
Right.
It's not feelings.
It fuels itself. Like the more, if you get good at speaking her love language, she feels loved, you know what? She's going to get good at speaking yours, because she's going to be happy. She's going to be proud of her husband. She's going to want to make her husband feel as great as she feels, and this really is like a key to a happy marriage is, well, yeah, we need to love each other, but what does that look like for my wife? What does it look like for, my children? Because a lot of people, they speak this love language, and that's just not what fills up the other person's tank. So write it down. Otherwise you'll forget, probably, because that's what happens to me. I forget. It's like, what was it? I know we talked about this. So write it down, and then you can always refer back. Make a habit. Every day, you can't go to bed unless you've done at least one thing to speak your wife's love language.
We're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.